responsibilities and things to worry about than going trick-or-treating. For example, most people who drive have a job, and Halloween is usually on school nights, and most stores and restaurants are still open, and most people work and don't have time for Halloween, and they can't get off their jobs and for Halloween, and they can't get off their jobs and on Halloween.
Yeah. If they are, they should still be able to trick or treat.
But let's say I have a big test to study for at school. Why would I want to go? Why I have a big test to study for at school. Why would I want to go? Why would I have more responsibilities than going trick or treating? Because a test is more important than going trick or treating. My second claim is that young people have curfews for driving at night. When people get off of school, they usually have work, and most people get off of work late. And if you have a curfew that your parents set for you, and you get off of your work at that curfew that they set, you're gonna have to go straight home, and there's gonna be no time to trick or treat.
If you do have a curfew, can't you drive home then go trick or treating?
No, because you have a curfew. They set that curfew so you're not out there. And there's mostly cops around on Halloween making sure everybody's being safe and nothing is happening. And you don't want to get pulled over because you're out past curfew.
How do you know that cops roam around neighborhoods to make sure nothing happens?
Well, I've seen cops before driving around and checking to make sure people are okay, because right now our world is not very safe. There's a lot of more violence, so it's better if most people are driving around and making sure some people are okay and we're following the rules. Most kids' parents give them a curfew, and if they have a job, they give, sorry, I just said that. And so they have a curfew and they get off late. They can't go trick-or-treating, and they have more responsibilities than going trick-or-treating, and their job is more important than trick-or-treating, because if you're old enough to drive, you're old enough to have a job.
How do you know everyone has a curfew? What if they don't?
Well, like I said, if they don't, they still have more important things to do than go trick-or-treating, because what if I have like this really big tournament, like what we're doing here right now? If I have this really big tournament and I need to write down this, that would be more important than going trick-or-treating.
You can say that they have tests all you want, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be true.
But why would I rather risk my learning than for trick-or-treating? Because why would I rather risk my learning for trick-or-treating just because other people think I should go trick-or-treating? If I'm old enough to drive, I have more responsibilities to worry.
If you're old enough to drive, that's your responsibility to make those decisions.
Yes, it is. That's why making more important decisions, like studying for a test, is more important than going trick-or-treating and making that decision and failing that test because you did something that
Pure.
Yes.
What if they dropped out of school? They don't have any tests, or they just homeschool. They're just homeschooled.
But you still have tests at home schools, and you still have grades that you have, and it's more important, and grades and having a big test is more important than going trick-or-treating, and making decisions that will affect your learning is not okay. In conclusion, this is why this house believes that if you are old enough to drive, you are too old to go trick-or-treating.
go ahead and start with opposition one. You guys have the same minutes. Make sure you do introduce yourself just as.
Oh, yeah.
What's your name, Lily?
Lila.
Lila? Nice to meet you, Lila. Just introduce yourself. Go ahead and get started. Another 5 minutes. Go ahead and get started.
Team, are you ready?
Yes.
What's this, are you ready?
Yeah.
Judge, are you ready? My name's Sam. I agree with all the definitions. Wait. I want to give some definitions. Trick-or-treating is when you go around neighborhoods, knocking on people's doors, asking for candy or toys. If I were to say anyone old enough to drive, I would say 16 all the way through however old you are. So, our burden of proof is that Prop needs to clearly state why people can't drive, that people that can drive can't trick or treat. What we are going to do throughout this debate is I'm going to introduce our first two substances. My second speaker is going to introduce our third and our final substantive, and our third speaker will give a rebuttal and carry down the bench. First, I'd like to address what Prop said. They said they have many responsibilities. Even on their highest ground, doesn't this mean they have the responsibility to choose what they want to do with their time? This leads me to my first substantive. The drivers might feel left out because if they have kids or see kids walking around with candy, wouldn't you think they'd be sad or feeling left out because they're too old to trick or treat? If you have kids and they go trick or treating, you might probably feel left out, like I said. They also might want candy, and it's more fun to go trick or treating than stealing candy from your kids late at night.
Yeah. What if they don't like trick or treating, and when they see those kids walking around with candy when they're driving back home or wherever they're driving, what would they do?
So, I never said that you have to go trick or treating. I said you weren't too old to go trick or treating. Because wanting to go trick or treating is different than being too old to go trick or treating. So, like I was saying, our second substantive is adults might feel old. And when you want to have some fun like you used to, you also might want to feel young again. Eating candy and running around probably makes it seem more fun and than just sitting at.
You have about a minute and 15 minutes. You will go ahead and continue on to the next part, which is for proposition 2. So, proposition 2, again, just a reminder, make sure that you will say it at the beginning, after that you have any guys. So, I'm going to go third performer. You may go ahead and get started.
Hello, my name is Rudy, and our house believes that if you're old enough to drive, you're too old enough to go trick or treating. Because when you're able to drive, you feel more like an adult. When you're able to drive, you feel more free. So trick or treating would make you feel childish. Then making them feel less like an adult.
Feel like
Yes.
most people want to feel young again. Some people want to have their childhood again.
That is true. But what if they gone trick or treating so many times that they feel no joy in going trick or treating and they want to feel like an adult? We believe that if you're old enough to drive, you're too old enough to go trick or treating.
Sheila, isn't it their opinion to decide if they want to or not? And also, if they have a lot of time, that just proves more that they should be able to trick or treat.
Can you say that again?
their opinion, not yours.
Yes. But wouldn't you find it weird seeing adults walking around with bunch of children going up to house asking for candy? Because they are able to drive. They feel like an adult, so going trick-or-treating would make them feel like a child. So Judge, do you want teens to feel like an adult to make decisions that can help them in like later on in life? Thank you.
We had 2 more minutes with that. Let's go ahead and do our Builder Prop 2, let's do opposition 2, 5 minutes, and you're gonna introduce yourself, I don't think I have to say that anymore. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alan Herrera, and good morning, Judge. Team, are you ready?
Yes.
Voting team, are you ready?
Yeah.
Judge, are you ready? So, to start, I'd like to address what proposition said. So, you say that adults, if able to drive, have more free time. That means that they just have more free time to actually trick or treat. Next, I will back up what my teammate, Speaker 1, said. What he was trying to get to is that adults, if they haven't trick or treated in a while, and if they're not allowed to trick or treat, that just gives them more of a reason to actually trick or treat. Because what if they want to live their young life again, or not feel as old as they are right now, even if they are old? Our third substantive is adults need to supervise kids and to fill in the vibe. They should be able to trick or treat. There is nothing wrong with that. In conclusion, kids need supervision, so adults should be able to trick or treat, supervise their kids, and make sure nothing happens wrong. Nothing wrong happens.
Feel like.
You said that if they have more time, they should go trick-or-treating. But why would they rather spend their time doing trick-or-treating when they could be doing something more important?
Well, what if they don't have anything important to do? What if they just have full free time? There's people who are unemployed or just not in high school.
Pure. If they're not.
Yeah, tonight. That's it.
Now, I am gonna say this, and only this, make sure you guys are using your time wisely, just so you know now. Let's go ahead and have our proposition 3. I know we can prop 2, but let's go use our time. So, let's go ahead and get started, don't forget to fill in your name.
Hello, my name is Olive, and this house believes that anyone old enough to drive is too old to go trick-or-treating. First, our team has shown that once you're old enough to drive, you are not going to want to go do something childish like trick-or-treating. Because they want to feel more mature and would not want to do something or go trick-or-treating. Second, our team has shown that once you're old enough to drive, you're going to be at work or school. Once you get off of school, you would go to your job and work for the afternoon. And even if you wanted to go trick-or-treating, you would have to go.
How do you know that they have a job? Some people don't want to have jobs, so they can have free time after school.
And if they do have a job? Once you, and even if you wanted to go trick-or-treating, you would have to go home and get ready and leave out of school. At that point, it would be dark and people would be getting to bed and heading home. In conclusion, this house believes that once you're old enough to drive, you should not be trick-or-treating.
Alright, so, I'm gonna go ahead and see what is next. That will be opposition 3. So, off 3, make sure you guys are coming up. We're doing great. Alright. Alright, ready?
Team, are you ready?
Yes.
Voting team, are you ready?
Yeah.
Judge, are you ready? My name is Caleb Jackson. I'm proud to be on
shouldn't be going trick or treating or if you have school. And we're saying that it doesn't really matter, that's your decision. So like my speaker once said, adults want to feel young again. And if you were an adult, wouldn't you want to go trick or treating? And like my speaker too said, if adults
Feel like most adults have a job 9 to 5, making them have less time to go trick or treating and probably be exhausted after work.
trick or treating does not start at 5. It usually starts at 6 or 6:30.
POI.
Yes.
You accept it? Okay. Yeah, like what my teammate said, they work 9 to 5, and trick or treating starts in between those hours, so they wouldn't have time to go trick or treating. And why? No, I'm sorry.
Don't you think kids get home around like 5:20 or 5:30, depending how long it takes them to get from school to home? Like that happened to me yesterday. And like,
POI. But we're talking about people who can drive, not kids. Kids can't drive. You can't compare yourself because you're a kid and you can't drive.
well, most kids go trick or treating, and the people, and usually 16-year-olds and up, some of them don't have kids, and they are sometimes homeschooled, so they can go trick or treating. And what prop speaker once said, even if you have a job, you shouldn't be going because you have tests, or maybe you have a job. Maybe you have school or a test the next day. That's their decision to go trick or treating. They should still have the option, even though they may not go. They should still have the option. They should not be allowed. And prop speaker too said if they don't, they may feel childish, but if they don't want to feel childish, they don't have to go. That's their decision to make. So let me ask you, Judge. There is no reason to ban people 16 or older from trick or treating. This is the 21st century. If they want to go trick or treating, that's their business. And if you were 16 or older, wouldn't you want to go trick or treating?
We have 2 minutes left on the timer. Now, with that being said, next person that goes up is the opposition replying. That is less time. You guys know that. That is 3 minutes. Make sure you summarize everything that you have to summarize. Go ahead, Lisa.
In summary, what my team was trying to say was that adults should be able to trick or treat. They shouldn't have to listen to opinions. It's their opinion if they want to trick or treat or not. It's not their fault that they're getting old. If they want to have fun, they should have fun. And my reply to proposition is that people can trick or treat. Why do you decide? It should be them deciding, not you. It's their opinion and it's always their life.
Proposition. You can do it.
We can say, okay.
Yeah, but I just.
In conclusion, summarizing what my team says, this house believes that people who can drive are too old to go trick or treating because they have more responsibilities than to go trick or treating. And think about it this way: when you get older, you get more mature, and as you get more mature, you think about. Like that I'm too old for this now. This was fun when I was little, but I'm too old for this, so I don't want to do this. And there are other ways to make you feel young again instead of going trick-or-treating. There's more ways to do things than going trick-or-treating. And like my team said, a bunch of kids have curfews, and if they work late, if they get off their jobs late, there's no really way you can go trick-or-treating. So it believes that if you are old enough to drive, you are too old to go trick-or-treating. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. I should give each other a round of applause. Now, I am going to go ahead and give you guys my feedback and then decide the winner at the round. I'm going to.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. So let's go start with proposition. Y'all did great. Obviously, both teams did great. A couple of things for individual speakers. So Lila,
Yeah.
thank you for being the first one to speak up. I could kind of tell you were a little nervous when you kind of went up there to kind of make this. That's okay. I will say this. I think sometimes for me, I did not understand your claim sometimes, so making sure you are being specific about what your claim is. So making sure your claim or your reason has a name, correct? So, I think it was hard for me to listen to because you were going a little bit too fast.
Sorry.
No, that's completely fine. This is feedback, constructive feedback, so you guys can be better for the next time, right? And I'm gonna be super honest for a second. This is my first time judging. So, I think we should give each other grace. So, with that being said, I do appreciate, there were a lot of POIs during that point of the conversation. You handled yourself well when you answered those. I think sometimes you didn't understand the questions that were being asked.
Yeah.
And you kind of just wanted to say something to say something. So make sure you are actually thinking through the question that they're asking. You do have the ability to deny their POI if that's too much. Let's talk to Prop 2, which was Ruby, correct? Ruby, I thought you did great. I did hear more of your claim, the tiniest bit more compared to Lila. Again, just making sure you are a little bit more specific about your claim. Just making sure that you're not going as fast as her. And this is feedback for everyone. And I know this was an impromptu. Make sure you guys are using your time because now that would require me to take points off for your strategy. How you guys are using that time. All right, and then for a little lady that was last, that was Olive. I thought you had a very eloquent way of speaking. I understood you the most in terms of you having a conversation or at least debating. Again, you finished it a little too early, and I think, to be honest, I think if y'all were a little bit more specific with your evidence as well, that would have made your whole debate a little bit stronger. So let's go ahead and talk to Longfellow. So Sam, I thought you had a very good framework at the very start. You defined everything. You even gave the definition, or not the definition, the ages that you thought was too old or too young. So I thought that was really good. One thing that I really appreciate this team doing is actually acknowledging the others. So making sure y'all always acknowledging the other side. Y'all did too. I think they just made theirs a little bit more clear. Alan, I thought you did a very good job supporting what Sam said at the very beginning. I think you relied on him like the tiniest bit because I feel like I just heard repetition. So make sure you add a little bit more evidence or a little bit more of your own words for that second part. Caleb, I also thought you did a good job about addressing the claims in there. You made it clear what your extra claim was, that adults want to feel young again, which was said before. I think although it was kind of a bit repetitive, but you made it clear. What I really appreciate about this team is that y'all spoke directly to me. There were points where y'all did speak to me as well. I think they just did theirs a little bit more clearly. So with that being said, I'm going to declare the winner as Longfellow for this.